Hello, everybody. Dave Neal here, stand-up comic and host of Bachelor Nation News. As we all know, yesterday there was another tragic and senseless act of violence at a school in Texas, and Bachelor alumni have reached out on their platforms, their Instagrams, their Twitter, and have given their statements. And it's senseless, and there's no sort of real way to make justice of this story. But over here at Bachelor Nation News, we find a way to tie in the audience we have with other social issues, political issues, things that happen in our world. And I know you guys watch my channel as a white noise thing, mealtime videos, just a way to get away from some of the heavier topics. But as you see by my thumbnail here, Bachelor Nation Reacts to Texas. If you clicked on the video, you know that it's going to be a heavy conversation. My voice is going, so I'm not going to do too much talking. I'll read a few of the tweets and messages from Bachelor Nation. I'll play a couple videos. I think most of us are on the same side of this story. That's why it feels like an echo chamber to me. When it comes to making content, even though we joke around and say it's barrel scraping or it's irreverent, I like to pull apart the simple, stupid, fun parts of the stupid TV show we watch, the dumb show, this fake reality show where people kind of find love and, you know, this parasocial experiment that we're all a part of as audience members. But then we get issues like this that's way above my pay grade. But with that said, I've never shied away from my political or moral compass and what I believe in. And as someone who believes in a lot of progressive values, you know, simple things like better healthcare, more mental health care. I'll say this, less Band-Aids on top of wounds and more fixing things on the inside. A spiritual awakening, which is exactly what Marianne Williamson has been talking about, because she says our country has a spiritual problem and we've got a problem of despair. And there's so many different ways we can take steps forward to the solution, which would be voting on better gun reform, as far as making sure that people with any sort of mental problems don't get a hold of guns, and there's so many other issues and ways to solve it. But what we come down to is people are so dug in to one side versus the other that we don't realize the massive common ground we all have. I can't tell you how many people, including family members, that were so pro-life, pro-Roe v. Wade getting overturned, but then they're also, you know, it's like, if you're going to support life, what about the lives that are just being taken? What about the lives that are just being taken from us for no reason whatsoever? And what do we do to fix all of this? Well, we got to do something. And that's kind of the conversation people are having. This video, whenever I make videos based on these topics, they come out like dog shit quality, because I'm not the smartest person out there. It's not my area of expertise. But I know that when we have a problem in our country, like gun violence, like the fact that our healthcare costs are double what other first world countries pay and we get less, there is a correlation. Now, that doesn't mean, oh, everyone should have a gun and we just need to fix the healthcare system. No. Everything needs reworking. They're all gears that work in the same system. We need to live in a world that isn't late stage capitalism. And I'm going to be talking about this tomorrow. I'm flying to Chicago tonight, speaking at DePaul University to the Bachelor community there. And I'm going to be talking about the new American dream. The reason Bachelor contestants go on the show, some say to find love, but some because they know that the equity you build from social media, from building your own life, is worth more than the shit options that are out there. The shit options being working for some corporation, not, you know, getting 1 or 2 weeks paid vacation like that's some sort of reward, where other countries have 5, 6. Knowing that we can live in a world where we're better taken care of. The middle class, the lower middle class is better taken care of because we are surrounded by abundance and wealth. It's just all trickled its way up to the top. Right? We got billionaires shooting their way into space, and yet we don't have sensible gun laws put on the table for our senators and Congress people to vote on. I don't know what else to say about it. I'll read a few of the tweets. I'll read a few of the messages, and I'll play some videos. Jason Tartik said our innocent civilians are being shot down and killed as they shop for milk and bread, and our children are being murdered in their elementary classrooms. Disgusted, distraught, and beyond comprehension. Are we trying to sink this country so that we can win some political races in a couple months? Is that what's going on out there? That we're just going to say, all right, whoever's in charge, the people that aren't in charge, we're just going to sabotage. Because that's what's happening in our countries. We're just sabotaging. We're sabotaging not voting on affordable health care, universal health care. We're sabotaging not getting the minimum wage boosted. All the things that everyone should be for. We're just sabotaging it because, why? So we can get a couple extra Supreme Court justices that'll vote a certain way. It's idiocracy, what's going on out there. Caitlin responds, my heart will forever bleed for the parents who send their kids to school this morning and 8 hours later are planning for their funerals. How can I help? For the innocent lives going to get groceries and not coming home. We could read these things all day long. The way to help is wherever you live, find out who you're going to be voting for and vote in people that don't take money from lobbyists you don't agree with. Michelle Young, she's a school teacher. School is supposed to be a safe zone, the place to build friendships, the place to count on a hot meal, the place to search for passions, not a place of fear, not a place of hate, not a place where students must search for ways to stay alive. We need to do better. Here's what a Senator Chris Murphy had to say in Connecticut yesterday. Have a watch. Button here.
14 kids dead.
19.
In an elementary school in Texas right now.
He's talking to his colleagues.
What are we doing? What are we doing? Just days after a shooter walked into a grocery store to gun down African American patrons, we have another Sandy Hook on our hands. What are we doing? There have been more mass shootings than days in the year. Our kids are living in fear every single time they set foot in a classroom because they think they're going to be next. What are we doing? Why do you spend all this time running for the United States Senate? Why do you go through all the hassle of getting this job, of putting yourself in a position of authority, if your answer is that as this slaughter increases, as our kids run for their lives, we do nothing?
So it's expensive running for, and it shouldn't be, but it's expensive to run for office. So that's why where there's this bias to people that have the wealth or raise the wealth in ways that are, either dark money or lobbyist groups that have ulterior motives. So this happened in Texas, and Ted Cruz said Heidi and I are lifting up in prayer the children and families and blah, blah. It always sounds the same, right? We're in close contact, blah, blah, blah. Thank you for the heroic. And it's just like a same thing, copy and paste. So in the response to that, thanks for the thoughts and prayers. I'll just leave this here. Ted Cruz in 2016, top 20 congressional recipients of gun rights money. What do they all have in common, guys? Now, that doesn't mean people who vote Republican are bad. That doesn't mean that people who vote Democrat are good. It means we have to follow the money. There's plenty of dark money and lobbyist groups that are in the Democratic Party as well. What we need to do is expose these hacks that take the money from the groups that that do not have our best interest. Expose them and just say, why? Why do you need their money to represent the people? Is this an accurate representation of what his state wants? And again, I don't think many people in the Democratic side are saying take people's guns away. They want reform. They want certain things to happen. And yet fear mongering takes place. We talked about this yesterday. If anyone's ever trying to sell you something based on fear, you run in the other direction. Oh, you better get the solar power or the roof's going to cave in. Gone. Don't sell me on fear, because fear is the most primal instinct. Oh, they're going to come take your jobs. There's a migrant, caravan swarming. It's always one thing of fear versus the other. And love transpires that. It's a higher frequency. And we need to invest in the people that are going to push forward solutions that don't sell us on fear. Oh, because every time there's a school shooting, every time one of these issues happens, you get the NRA, the National Rifle Association, saying, "Oh, they're going to come and take your weapons," and then their sales increase. We know this every time. It happened at the beginning of the pandemic. It happened during the Black Lives Matter movement. One time after another, and then the money goes into the pocket of the people that say, "Well, the solutions," And then, of course, what does Ted Cruz say as soon as it ends? Oh, the Democrats are trying to politicize it. It's been politicized because these are people's sons and daughters, family members, friends, 2 days away from summer vacation. Remember that feeling, getting ready for summer vacation? People have been robbed of that, and they will continue to be robbed of that. And it isn't a rare occurrence when it happens. It's a part of our society.
What are we doing? Why are you here? If not to solve a problem as existential as this.
Please the donors. Got to please the donors.
This isn't inevitable. These kids weren't unlucky. This only happens in this country.
True.
And nowhere else. Nowhere else do little kids go to school thinking that they might be shot that day. Sandy Hook will never, ever be the same. This community in Texas will never, ever be the same. Why? Why are we here? If not to try to make sure that fewer schools and fewer communities go through what Sandy Hook has gone through.
And as I've mentioned before, there'll be comments, well, in this case, he bought the gun legally. Well, in this case, he did this. We're in a sinking ship, and there's different ways we can keep this ship afloat, but we're going to have to plug all of the different leaks. Those being able to purchase weapons without, through gun loopholes. There's so many different issues, and people that support the NRA and people that support, not doing anything will find a way to justify every single atrocity that's happened. And we just need to come together. And will we? Will we come together and say, hey, regardless of the division that certain media companies place, regardless of the division of, is this a red state or a blue state? We know that 80-90% of us want the same thing. And when are we all going to band together and vote people into office that want that? Matthew McConaughey from Texas says, this is an epidemic we can control, and whichever side of the aisle we may stand on, we all know we can do better. We must do better. Action must be taken so that no parent has to experience what the parents in Uvalde and the others before them have endured. I'm going to end with Steve Kerr because no one said it better than him.
I'm not going to talk about basketball. Nothing's happened with our team in the last 6 hours. We're going to start the same way tonight. Any basketball questions don't matter. Since we left shoot-around, 14 children were killed
19.
400 miles from here, and a teacher. And in the last 10 days, we've had elderly black people killed in a supermarket in Buffalo. We've had Asian churchgoers killed in Southern California. And now we have children murdered at school. When are we going to do something? I'm tired. I'm so tired of getting up here and offering condolences to the devastated families that are out there. I'm so tired of I'm tired of the moments of silence. Enough. There's 50 senators right now who refuse to vote on H.R. 8, which is a background check rule that the House passed a couple of years ago. It's been sitting there for 2 years. And there's a reason they won't vote on it, to hold on to power. So I ask you, Mitch McConnell, I ask all of you senators who refuse to do anything about the violence and school shootings and supermarket shootings, I ask you, are you going to put your own desire for power ahead of the lives of our children and our elderly and our churchgoers? Because that's what it looks like. It's what we do every week. So I'm fed up. I've had enough. We're going to play the game tonight, but I want every person here, every person listening to this to think about your own child or grandchild or mother or father or sister, brother. How would you feel if this happened to you today? We can't get numb to this. We can't sit here and just read about it and go, well, let's have a moment of silence. Yeah, go Dubs, Come on, Mavs, let's go. That's what we're going to do. We're going to go play a basketball game. And 50 senators in Washington are going to hold us hostage. Do you realize that 90% of Americans, regardless of political party, want background check, universal background check? 90% of us, we are being held hostage by 50 senators in Washington who refuse to even put it to a vote, despite
His dad died in 1984 to gun violence.
they won't vote on it because they want to hold on to their own power. It's pathetic. I've had enough.
Don't get numb, folks. We'll see you later.